But we begin tonight with Fonterra and a strong attack on them by the National MP for Whanganui, Chester Burrows. In October of last year, Fonterra reportedly sent many of its contractors and suppliers formal notification that invoices previously paid on the 20th of the next month would now be pushed out for a further 60 days, potentially a delay of 90 days between work and payment for that work. Fonterra also asked for efficiencies, including a reported reduction in charges of 10%. Checkpoint has been told Fonterra is now asking for 20% reductions. We are trying to confirm that with Fonterra, 20% reductions in terms of what contractors are charging them. This in rural economies already squeezed by the large fall in dairy prices. Now, National MP for Whanganui, Chester Burrows, claims those cuts in what contractors can charge, plus long delays before they're paid, is really starting to hurt.
It's having a big impact, and it rattles down through all the levels in the community. Most of the businesses who are working for Fonterra as contractors also work for the local communities as well. So it might be 40, 50%, might be only 10 or 20% of their business, but it certainly affects their margin. And I think the other thing we need to say is this is at a time when farmers, because of the downturn, are actually they're slow to pay anyway. So they're asking for more time. That's farmer by farmer. But at the same time, now Fonterra is saying, and what do you know, we're going to take another 2 months to pay you as well. And we want a 10 to 20% discount on what you've previously been charging us, and it's just not good enough.
Are you speaking to businesses? Have you heard from businesses who are feeling imperilled by this?
Yes, because Fonterra are the biggest bully in the playground with the biggest bag of marbles. So they're afraid to confront them too aggressively in case they lose business, and the phone doesn't ring from Fonterra, and that means jobs, and that's a real difficulty. So a number of them have tried to accommodate Fonterra. The latest thing they've done is a sort of a speed date when Fonterra turn up, talk for 20 minutes or half an hour, and then make a decision what they're going to do. And it doesn't appear that anybody's had a good outcome from that as far as their businesses are concerned. In terms of
Fonterra trying to drive costs down?
Yeah, that's right. Fonterra's point of view, and I have had discussions with Tara Spearings and John Wilson. What they're saying is, look, as soon as they know Fonterra is paying, they ramp up the charges. Well, that's Fonterra about doing, to my mind anyway, that's an issue for Fonterra doing due diligence and paying what they should be paying. I mean, they're a big company and they can do that sort of stuff, that sort of scrutiny. But just sort of writing to people, intimidating them straight away, pretty much the underlying threat is, drop your charges 10 to 20%, or, the phone won't ring for you, is bloody scary to companies that are servicing an industry that's already under pressure and trying to keep people in jobs and, keep wage checks going into families around South Taranaki.
So if we look at South Taranaki, can we pick a community like Hawera, which has, the biggest dairy plant in the world, doesn't it, Chester, there?
Yep, it probably currently is. It usually is. At some time or another, the biggest dairy plant in the world. It's got about 800 jobs, people working out there, but obviously contractors working in the community, it affects their employment heavily. I mean, at some stages it's had 2.5% of our gross national product coming off the site, so it's a big deal. So if you're a plumber, an electrician, an engineer, or just about anybody else working in Hawera, you do some work for Fonterra. And at a time when the dairy industry as a whole is under stress, if your big company who's always been consistent of paying decides not to pay you for an extra couple of months, that's tough.
Okay, Fonterra, I guess, and we've gotten a bit to talk to them, and we sincerely hope they front to explain what's going on here, would say, look, times are hard, our borrowing is way up, prices are way down, we have shareholders squirming, some of them have converted from other forms of farming into dairying, they are hemorrhaging on their mortgages, their returns are down, we have to save money somehow.
Yep, and Fonterra's got a bigger handle on the dairy industry and its forecast than anybody else because, they're the biggest players in that market, and they are one of the biggest exporters of milk worldwide. So they know that, but at the same time, these contractors that they have, they know times are tough. For goodness sake, they're living in a local industry where everything is based on dairy. They know it's tough. They don't need to be patronised by Fonterra, but everybody's got to pay their bills. So what they're doing is they're expecting these contractors who have to pay it on the 20th of the month by month, they're expecting them to suck it up and give the richest company in the country a 3-month window before they have to pay their bills. And that doesn't add up. So these businesses are having to go to their creditors and ask for more time to pay, or their banks and getting loans to cover what Fonterra won't pay, and it's unacceptable.